Hi, it's Phil Kelly. I'm here with my two guests that go to church with us. This is Jasmine Yogi right here, and that's Jane.
Chessmore.
Say your last name?
Chessmore.
Chessmore, right. We don't know each other very well, but after we do these 2 30-minute programs, this is part 1, then we're going to know each other much better. Because we're just going to, Jasmine is first going to tell about her religious experiences that made her decide she really wanted to be a Christian. And you can tell about how you became a Christian and when you became a Christian. How long ago did you become a Christian?
October 19th, 2010. So around maybe 8 months ago.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yes, almost.
Good deal. And how long have you been a Christian, Jane?
A little over 3 months.
Oh, that's
April
fantastic.
29th.
All right. So you guys can tell about what led up to making you decide you want to be a Christian and how you became a Christian. Now, the funny thing is, there's all kinds of different religious people, so we're talking about religious experiences. You might notice in life, you know, I'm talking to you guys out there, I'll try to look at my camera. So when you meet a religious person, if they're not really a Christian and you say, can you tell me how you became a Christian? If they're not really a Christian, they'll probably get mad. And they'll probably say, what do you mean? You don't think I'm a Christian? What's your problem, you know? But if they're really a Christian and you ask them, Jasmine, how did you become a Christian? You'll say, have the attitude, I'm glad you asked me. I would sure like to tell you about that. It's so fantastic that I'm a Christian now. So if you guys want to test people, you know, if you ask a religious person, by the way, how did you become a Christian? If they're not really a Christian yet, they're just religious. Because I know we've all experienced going to church and people telling us, yeah, you're going to church and you're singing the songs and paying the money, and now you're a Christian and we'll sing this song right now about when we all get to heaven, how fine it will be, and thanks for coming and singing the songs and paying the money, you know. So a lot of us are familiar with that kind of situation. So Jasmine, I don't want to steal your story. I don't even know what your story is too well. But go ahead and just tell about your religious experiences that led you to become a Christian 10 months ago, or before 10 months ago, something like that.
Okay, so when I first kind of started doing the religious thing was when I was very little. I was probably in elementary school. My mom sent me to a Christian school for, well, they had like a little youth group for kids, and they would let the kids memorize scripture, and it was pretty cute. They give like the little Girl Scout uniforms, you know, make it all cute, and they give you a badge for if you memorize.
How old were you?
I probably was around 6 or 7 at that time, and yeah, my mom wanted me to go because she wanted me to become a Christian, to know more about God. But after a while, I just stopped going because I went there for my friend, because we lived in the same apartment building. We were neighbors. So
you went together with her?
Yeah, I went together with her. Her mom would actually give me a ride there. But yeah, after that, I never really got into church or anything like that until later on in my last 2 years of high school. And at that time I had a boyfriend. His name was Bryson. And yeah, he went to church. He went to the Makiki Christian Church. And so he invited me out, and I went there because he invited me out. And it was fun. We hung out with people, but when I would go into the services, I would always try to keep myself from falling asleep. It was just they would have this prayer, the Lord's Prayer, that they would recite, and then
every time.
Yeah, every time. Father, hallowed be your name, and everybody else would recite it after the person in the front recites it. And then after going there for a while, one of the teachers there, he asked me if I wanted to be a Christian. So I was like, sure, why not? And then we were talking about it for a little bit, and he had a Bible open, and he's like, all you have to do is say this prayer and you'll be a Christian. And so I said the prayer, and he was like, congratulations, you're now a Christian, you're now a daughter of God. And it didn't really change anything for me. I was still getting into my sinful nature, playing video games all day, among other things. And then my first semester of college, my boyfriend, he actually started studying the Bible. And I was actually kind of hesitant to go to their Bible talk. I remember the first time I was invited out, and it was like, hey, you want to go to Bible talk? And I'm like, I'll go to the library and study instead. But as he went through the studies, I did notice like a change in him.
You did?
Yeah, I did notice like he actually he started reading the Bible more. He started there was like a lot of like emotional changes in him, and
for the better or for the worse?
I think for the better, because before that he didn't really emote very much, so it was
didn't show much emotion.
Yeah. But it was really cool to to see him change in that way. And then after a while though, he actually we went up to this hill that's on our campus on KCC, and then he's like, oh, Jasmine, I'm sorry, but I gotta break up with you. It's what the Bible says. And so he showed me a scripture, the scripture of not being yoked to unbelievers, and
unequally yoked.
Yeah, and just like it was very I was very sad, but I knew there had to be something there, in order for him to break that strong relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to Bryson's baptism, and it was really happy. I was really happy for him. And then he told me all about this lady who was interested in studying the Bible with me, and that lady actually turned out to be Kelly Bartholomew, and she's amazing.
Yeah, she's nice.
Yeah, she really impacted me. She really I started to study the Bible with her, and she was I was a really quiet person back then, and Kelly's a very really open person.
Mm-hmm.
And so just her studying with me and just seeing, she was such a woman of God. She really wanted to go after me. She wanted to show me the truth. And so even after the first Bible study, she's like, hey, you want to study tomorrow? And I'm like, sure. And after every study, she's like, hey, you want to study the next day? Hey, you want to study tomorrow? And she kept going after me, and it was really amazing.
That's amazing, yeah. Most people don't care, right?
Yeah. They're like, hey, figure it out on your own, But she really, really taught me well, really went through the Bible with me, really challenged me to look through the scriptures and build that faith. And it was really awesome that just her heart to just go after me after all the sadness that I went through before with my breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And soon after that, I was baptized. And it was an amazing day.
Because you learned what it was about and made a decision. That's what you wanted to.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, there are conditions, right? It's not just saying a magic prayer.
Yes, yes, it was totally different. She I had to sit down and count the costs before I had to decide to become a disciple. So she was talking to me about how I was with Bryson and all my feelings, forgiveness, and all that. And then, like, because I was such a school person back then. I was like, I study a lot. She's like, oh, you really got to count the cost. Make the time to be with the people from church, you know, because it's not just a Sunday thing. It's more than that.
Putting God first in your whole life, yeah.
Yeah, and just really putting God and His kingdom before anything from school or work or anything. And then, yeah, after I really thought about it, I was able to make that decision.
A logical decision.
Yeah, I repented from doing, like, playing video games too much, or just really, like, even just acting out on anger or anything like that.
Did you decide to stop taking revenge sometimes too?
Yeah, definitely had to stop that. And
that's a hard one. It's so natural, right?
yeah, you just really want to get back at anybody who does
our human nature.
But it's just like, after you go through all that, it's much easier, you know, how it's better than just holding on to the feelings and just like
the feelings will crush you, right? The emotional feelings.
Yeah, that bitterness that just eats away at you.
So you were able to get rid of your bitterness.
Yeah, about that.
What?
about like the breakup and all that.
Yeah, sure.
And then soon after that, like I have a video of my baptism too, and just like I recently looked back on it, and it's like thinking about all the emotions I went through, overcoming what I had to go through.
Yeah.
And even before I was baptized, I talked to my parents about it, and they weren't very happy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what they said they wanted when you were a child, right?
Yeah, and it was really strange. But, yeah, they weren't very happy about it. They said, like, they kind of thought I was trying to run my life or trying to set my priorities away from school. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I felt really terrible, but...
well, you're still doing good in school, right?
Yes.
So?
Yeah,
that's good.
Exactly. Yeah, like...
God can help you do good in school, too.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, it was tough, like, getting to that point of becoming a disciple, but it was great, like, struggling through that, like, getting to that point, it, like, made it something special for me.
There's a Bible verse that said, Jesus said, come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest, because my burden
my yoke is easy,
something
my burden
like that.
is light.
My load is not heavy, and my burden, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm so bad about remembering things. But did you find that to be true, that God lifted a lot of the heavy burden and gave you a light?
Yeah.
He doesn't make it too hard for you, right? It makes it. He wants you to have the abundant life that He intended for you to have.
Yeah.
Without having the consequences of sin, and He'd rather have you have the blessings for making the right decisions, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so that's nice. We can talk more, and there'll be a second program where we'll talk more. Part 2 will be coming up right after this one. And Jane, how about you? Did you have something happen in your life as you were searching for God? I don't know how to ask you because I don't know your story.
Oh, you'll find out.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked.
All right.
Growing up, I grew up in a Catholic family.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to church, but I never got into it. I was little. I didn't understand. I was there to play. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, my parents divorced. Mm-hmm. And I was just lonely, I guess. I always wanted a father figure. So when it was my mom who worked two jobs all day supporting my sister and me, it was very difficult to ever be with someone. My sister was in school, mom was at work, and I was alone. And my mom would always pray, so I like imitated her, and I would pray like, oh God, send me someone, send me a friend, send me, someone that I can be with. And I constantly prayed for that. Like even for Christmas, like on my Santa list, I said, send me an angel, like send me a friend. And it was only about, I think, 2-3 years later that my mom met someone. And today he's my stepfather, but in my eyes he's like my real dad.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so Catholic mom was Catholic, dad was Christian. His whole family grew up Christian. So he always tried to open the door to God for me. He'd give me like the children's Bible or just try to start me.
And how old were you when?
I was about 9. About 9 years old, so in that age of curiosity, so I wanted to learn. I would pray, but because they were always working, we never could go to church. And so many years later, I think it was just last year, my closest friend, he goes to church all the time, Christian church, and so he's like, Jane, you're not doing anything Sundays, right? Come out. So from then on, I went out to this church, but I didn't go to their service, their adult service. I went to their children's service to help out with the kids. And it was really funny because while the kids are learning, I was learning too because I didn't know anything. So I'm just like sitting with the kids learning. And they asked me to help out at church and kind of be like a teacher where I just watch the kids. And I've done that for close to a year, but I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. My faith wasn't growing. My relationship with God wasn't growing. I wasn't reading the Bible. It was only what I learned from service. And I was back at home. My mom and dad were watching this documentary. It was on Judas and how he betrayed Jesus. And so they had a documentary on him. And I was asking my dad all these questions like, who is he? What's going on? Where is this place? And my dad kind of got to the point where he's like, read the Bible. Jane, you should look for a Bible study group and really understand what, they're trying to tell you, because everything that you're watching on TV is in the Bible. And I was like, Dad, I don't know where to go. Where am I going to go to look for that? And so we just left it at that. And it was the craziest thing. Just 2 weeks later, I had to go to this sophomore conference for this honors program event, and I forgot the date. So I was walking in Campus Center and I realized there was a huge poster that said it was today. So I rushed upstairs hoping to catch the last hour. And at the sign-in table were 2 girls, Alyssa and Leanne, who are my disciplers now. And we were signing our name in and we didn't know where to go, so we decided to go together. And so afterwards, we started talking, finding out what high school we came from. And out of nowhere, they asked me, so are you, religious? Have you studied the Bible? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And then they're like, would you like to study the Bible? We have a Bible talk. And I was like, yes, yes, I would. 2 weeks later, and, God answered me. And I really understood that God really chooses the times and places for each person, to really help us get closer to Him.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, the week later, started studying. We got together and we continuously studied throughout the school days. And we worked our schedule around classes. And they were really great. They really helped me answer all my questions, because I didn't know how to read the Bible or interpret the messages. So if there's like a parable that I didn't understand, they'd always be there to help me. And I got interested. It was fun. And they are great people. So I remember I came to Devo for the first time, devotionals, to meet everyone on campus. And I was blown away. I was really afraid of meeting new people for the first time. I thought they are going to think weird of me. They're going to look at me funny. They're not going to talk to me. But as soon as I said hello, like nonstop. Every person just kept coming up to me. Hi, what's your name? Where, how did you meet these guys? And they're just so loving. And I was like, I was telling my disciplers, like, I want to be a part of this group of friends and family. You guys seem so close. And so we continuously studied the Bible. And that's when they asked me, would you like to get baptized? And I was really afraid, nervous, I guess mostly because I didn't want to change my lifestyle. I was afraid of counting the costs. I knew what I had to do.
You learned what you had to do, the conditions, right?
Or what I had to give up. And so it was abrupt for me. It was at night, and it was so sudden. I was afraid. I kind of wanted to push it to the next day. And what really, I think, pushed me was I wanted one of my family members to be there for me. And my mom, actually, who's Catholic, she's Catholic.
Yeah.
But when I told her I wanted to become a Christian disciple, first she was hesitant, but she supported me. She worked all day that day, and she called me back and said, you know what, when I'm done with work, I'll be there. So that really made me feel like this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
She's going to be there to support me. My dad, I just talked to him and he said, Jane, if it's in your heart, you should do it. If it's not, then don't. But you have to really be the one to decide. And so I realized this is what's right. I feel it. And that very night at around 11:45, everyone got together, and I was like so surprised to see everyone there, that they came for me. I only knew maybe several people, but all of these people, everyone came to support me, and it was like a welcoming party.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got baptized.
And where'd you get baptized?
At Waikiki, in front of the walls. But it was a wonderful night. I'll never forget it. Just my heart was pounding the entire time.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Well, that's really nice. So we just wanted to share this with everybody on TV. And if you guys want to meet Jasmine and Jane and some of the other people that go to college that became Christians just like them, if you're interested in becoming a Christian, it's okay if you're religious, if you go to church, but if you want to meet some good Christians even on campus, I think we can put the name of the campus ministry leader. Oh yeah, that's where we have our church service normally. Sometimes we also have it at the business center, but if on campus, on UH campus. And these are some names and numbers of people you can call if you want to do a Bible study. Hendricks is in charge of all the campus ministry Bible studies. Kyle is the preacher. He was born and raised in Hilo. He's moved to Oahu a few years ago. You can also, if you go to our website, you can see where I interviewed just like this at this table here. That's our website. You can look on the website, click on the left where it says new, we're on TV. You can see some more interviews. We actually did interview Kyle, the preacher that moved from Hilo to start this church here a few years ago. And Jake, you can call Jake. He's the campus ministry leader. And before this airs, right now we're in the first part of August. Jake's getting married this Sunday on Saturday on the 8th. So he'll be married hopefully by the time you see this. It's all scheduled. And in fact, he's getting married to Jen, which is Kyle's sister-in-law. And Jen was on this program. She sat here. Jen, Jake was on here too. So you can see all these people. You can see some of these programs. You can see from this website. You can also see Kyle Bartholomew preaching sermons and see if you would like to come. We always like Kyle's sermons, and I think most everybody does.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this, is so we want to give everybody a chance to experience what you guys have experienced in coming into a real relationship with the Lord. In part 2, we'll talk more about the relationship you're having with the Lord now, since you did make a decision to become a Christian and get baptized. Is there any Bible verse you want to tell anybody about on TV? We have 2 minutes left. If not, I can give a Bible verse too.
Sure.
You want to say one?
Yeah.
It's 2 Corinthians.
Do you want to find it? Do you want me to find it for you? Okay, second. I'll find it. I have it in here. Okay, I'll find it right here. Let's see, we have the Bible in this. This is our teleprompter with the Bible on the phone here. Okay, first or second?
2 Corinthians.
Okay,
chapter
here we go.
5.
Then you can read it from the telephone. 2 Corinthians 5. In the chapter, what, verse 1?
Verse 13.
Okay, here we go. Okay, 5:13. See how professional we are here? Nothing is planned. There it is. And you can read as much as you like there. And look at the camera when you're reading, okay?
Okay.
And look at the phone. You can hold it up like this. That's your teleprompter.
Okay, so this is my favorite Bible verse, and it's in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, starting in verse 13. If we are out of our mind, it is for the sake of God. If we are in our right mind, it is for you. For Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. And he died for all, that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who has died for them and was raised again. Okay,
that's a nice verse. And I got only half a minute left, so I don't think I can find a verse that quick. And do you have anything you want to share with anybody before we finish?
I probably won't be able to read the verse.
But you can remember.
But my favorite verse is in Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 to 15. And that talks about how you should do all things without murmuring and disputing, so that you may become blameless and harmless children of God in the midst of a perverse and crooked generation. Somewhere along those lines. I read it countless times. It really just reminds me that we are the lights in the world for God.
Yeah, you are. and I'll say a verse is, God has revealed to little children what he's hidden from the wise and the learned. To me, you guys are little children because you're so young and you're so fortunate to come into a relationship with God through Christ and know God from this early age. I wish I could say the same. I'm tired of the consequences of sin. That's why I became a Christian. And you didn't have to experience all that. So that's wonderful. Okay, you'll see us on the next program. We'll talk more about what's happening in our relationship with God on part 2. Thank you.